So welcome to the QUICKBLOCK podcast with Chris Shanks and Andrew Vincent from QUICKBLOCK and myself, Nick Bramley, your podcast host. The timing of this could not be better because QUICKBLOCK are based in Glasgow, where COP26 is currently taking place. And we're going to explore a few things that might be relevant to that audience and people interested in that particular agenda. So without further ado, welcome to the QUICKBLOCK podcast, Andrew and Chris.
Thanks very much, Nick. Delighted to be here.
Hi, Nick. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good. We've got a few things to explore. I think there's a good link between, what I genuinely know is an excellent product and, the whole COP26 agenda and things around that. So I guess without further ado, let's crack on, shall we? Andrew, recently I've been up to Glasgow to work with a couple of your team, one from the customer service and sales side, one from the product development side, and I got a real insight into the whole sort of QUICKBLOCK product, what it's capable of, and I found it just really fascinating that something that's relatively simple can be so effective and has so many sort of wide use applications. So do you want to paint a little picture for us, Andrew, of what QUICKBLOCK's all about so that people can get the same excitement I had when I first got let loose in a room with some?
Yeah, sure, Nick. So I think you've happened upon quite a pertinent point. So before I speak about our product, I would guess say, if you remember when you were younger and you used to build with Lego, imagine that were still possible, but on adult scale. That is in a nutshell what QUICKBLOCK is. So we have a rapid assembly building product that's made from 100% recycled plastic. And it literally stacks on top of the blocks stack on top of each other really simply so that anyone can build with it. And as I'm sure we'll go on to discuss, we've built a variety of different structures in all different settings. And at the heart of it, it's a really simple system to use. It offers a solution to the plastic waste problem that we have in the world, and also hopefully offers an opportunity for some people to have a little bit of fun and let their imagination go wild.
I think it is an imagination thing, isn't it? I see you've got a bit of a sort of stack behind you, and you can do anything with it. We're going to explore that later. But from a QUICKBLOCK point of view, where did the idea for this particular product come from? Where did it sort of arise from, Andrew?
So it was the original inventor and founder of QUICKBLOCK was a chap called Hugh Fisher, who's an inventor, remains an inventor to this day, an architect by profession. And his vision, actually, was eureka moment, if you will, came when he was working in the Middle East. He was out working on one of his architectural projects, and he noticed a real issue with waste blowing around in the streets. But also there was a lot going on at that time in the Middle East, and there was a lot of sort of large refugee camps. There was some people that had been displaced as a result of construction work, etc. And he's seen a need for maybe temporary accommodation for people. He matched that with the plastic waste issue and thought, actually, is there something in this that we could take waste and turn it into an easy to use building material? So that was where the kind of nucleus of the idea that came about, probably not less than 10 years ago, really. The company was formed about 6 years ago, and since then we've been putting that idea into action. So we've been developing it, looking at different materials, developing the product to where it is now, and we've arrived at 100% recycled polypropylene product, and it fulfills his original brief, shall we say. It takes the waste, turns it into a really simple and easy to use building material, and that's where it's come from. And we have, I guess the biggest challenge is that there are so many things that you can do with it. So we've got great ideas of where we go next, but we're still an early stage company. We've got a small team, really smart team, and we're growing at pace as we speak. But that gives you an insight as to where it came from, Nick.
I mean, I felt the sort of sense of energy when I was up there in Glasgow about the opportunity, really. And it's one of those, I do like the idea of what would you build as a bit of a concept, saying to somebody, here's what QUICKBLOCK can do. Here's the applications, which we are going to touch on shortly. what would you build if you had a quick block set, as it were? And you don't buy them in sets, so you buy them for the requirements, but your design team can help them with that. But it's a really good sort of way of engaging people on social media and stuff like that. So it looks great in terms of what it can do, and we'll explore that a little bit. So Chris, when I was looking at working with your team in terms of some of their sort of development, I was genuinely amazed at a product that's so transferable, really, you know, and you know, Andrew's likened it to big block Lego for grown-ups, which is a good way of describing it. Is this the type of product that when people get their hands on it, they tend to start thinking about the endless possibilities? Is it one of those sort of light bulb products that people think, oh, what about this? What about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and Andrew mentioned our visions to enable anyone to build anything anywhere. And we genuinely believe that with the blocks, you can put anything together that you could really imagine. And you actually mentioned it, but as part of our marketing, we do a regular like hashtag what would you build post. And some of the things that people have come up with have been fantastic. I think even one person said about building a dinosaur, which does sound quite difficult, but I'm sure with the ingenuity of the team we could probably pull it off. And last week we built a Christmas tree out of our blocks. So yeah,
I think they might have been taking the Lego transference a bit literally when it came to dinosaurs and stuff. It's more about sort of light construction and, like you say, things like temporary shelters and stuff like that Andrew mentioned earlier. But I mean, the fact that you could probably build a dinosaur out of it, it's not really of where its value stands, I don't suppose, is it, Chris?
No, so the value is in some of the sectors that we've targeted, and that's agriculture, land management, light construction, and events and hospitality. That's where we see it fit, and that's where we are driving forward as a company. But you know what? There's a bit of fun in it as well. It can't all be serious, and actually, we might just build that dinosaur just to prove that we can do it.
Just to drop it off at the client's premises outside. He can't remember entering the competition, but then gets a dinosaur dropped off outside the front. So yeah, and the thing is, with if you fill it with sand or heavy materials, that it's permanent as a structure, isn't it? It's very, very solid in terms of permanence, and we'll talk about things like retaining walls and other stuff that goes with it later. But anything temporary, anything semi-permanent, anything permanent. So you could have a permanent dinosaur outside his office in his car parking space. That might be interesting to see how that transpires. Okay. When I was up there, Andrew, I was sat with the team. We were exploring things like light construction, agriculture, land management, events and hospitality, landscaping, civil engineering, and loads more. Okay. So what is it about QUICKBLOCK that makes it so transferable as a product? What type of structures or even furniture can you use QUICKBLOCK to make? Because the events and hospitality industry are probably going to have a very different use for it than somebody building or using it for light construction.
Yeah, so I think at the heart of what makes it so transferable is its simplicity, Nick. So the fact that anyone can build with it. It's flexible in that you can, with other maybe pop-up infrastructure solutions, they're of a set size, whereas with QUICKBLOCK, you can decide how long, how tall, how wide structures may want to be. It's very flexible in terms of where you can take it as well. You would often be restricted in traditional building materials with logistics, simply can you lift something into place or get it into place? Do you need roads, etc.? Whereas you can literally, you can carry QUICKBLOCK on your back and take them to the top of a mountain if you really wanted to build something. So there's that flexibility in the construct of what you can build, and also the flexibility in where you can build. And what makes it so transferable is just how simple it is. It transcends. It's a bit like like kids building blocks, isn't it? Transcends languages or culture. People see it in front of them and they can build with it. So that simplicity makes it really transferable. And it's because of that literally we have, whether you are a keen DIY gardener, for instance, and you want to build a shed in your garden, whether you're, popping up an event, a summer festival, for instance, and you want to pop up a village and take it back down again and take it on to the next festival space, whether you are, one of our armed forces helping out in a humanitarian aid situation, and you want to build a rapidly deployed sort of shelter or refugee housing, etc., you can use our product to do it. So it's that base system, which is simple, transportable and flexible, and then the scenarios, we've got a solution for it for almost every scenario, really.
I guess the limitation's only in the limitation of the creativity of the people who are looking at it, really. Chris, we talked about things like retaining walls. We talked about things like filtering and funneling traffic, sort of people and pedestrians. We talked about smoking shelters in offices. We even talked about on a construction site where space might be a premium, maybe a storage unit where normally you have to bring in a big container and drop it in with a crane. You might have access problems, as Andrew mentioned. What are some of the exciting things that you're seeing people use it for then, Chris? I've touched on a few there, I guess.
Yeah, so a lot of it is things like retaining walls. We have cordoning, we already have that in place. We're working with various councils to delineate areas using our product. People are building shelters, people are building planters with it, sheds, outhouses, man caves, as I call them, but outhouses, but really anything. It's one of those products that when I first came on board, when I first came on into the company, and I suppose like anyone that starts to recognize QUICKBLOCK, you have all these mad ideas that could potentially be built with it. And actually, you can build all of them with it. And it's taking it as to what is real use products. And that's where the challenge was for us. But we've created those solutions. We're now working with big companies on products that they're looking for. And also we're working with your everyday person who wants to do stuff in their garden, as Andrew said. So
yeah, I mean, the landscape inside's fairly obvious. It looks great. It's green. It can be anything from a planter to a home for a water feature. It could be, like, say, a garden shed or man cave for somebody. Some of those are fairly obvious, but the temporary shelter stuff's quite interesting. And what I found interesting was the furniture aspect of it. So just explain to the audience, Chris, the hospitality and events side of it, because you talked about temporary furniture where I was up there. I'm thinking I wouldn't necessarily associate it with that. Give us a bit of an insight into that side of things.
Yeah, so we're actually doing an event this week up in Dundee, and we're doing various amounts of stuff for them. One of them being a stage, so we can do staging. So we're doing a 3 by 4 meter stage. We're also doing seating for the venue, that being for the people that are attending, but also for the organisers. So you can do corner sofas, you can do seats with tables. When I wasn't there, the guys were up last week. They just built a bench, and we've got nice upholstered cushions that go with it, so bespoke to the size. So building benches, podiums, information points, anything you can imagine. But that's what we're doing for the event in Dundee.
But I would say the event industry, everything's temporary, isn't it? Everything's kind of has to be mobile. Everything has to be built and then sort of decommissioned and rebuilt somewhere else for the next one. So it's great for that sector as well. So quick question: what skills do you have to build QUICKBLOCK, Chris? So you have to have some engineering and mechano type skills. You have to be an advanced sort of DIYist, or what's the situation?
You don't need any engineering background, and that's the beauty of the system. But if you are looking to build something that you're unsure of what it can withstand or what it will even look like, then you can just send us over a drawing or a specification. We've got an in-house design team. They can look at it, they'll develop a solution, and we'll even provide a CAD model to help you visualize it. There'll be somebody there if you need us, but we almost guarantee you don't. Okay,
that's because it's so functional and easy, and like you say, most people, going back to Andrew's earlier point, I've had some play around with Lego in as a kid. It's got a very similar principle, hasn't it, really? So it's just subject to the vision. Quick question, Chris, as well, about in terms of, if you mentioned the in-house design, if a customer's not sure, what should they do?
Yeah, so any new customer that comes on board, will be assigned an account manager, and they'll take them through the build process should they need it. But as I say, we're pretty confident that with the assembly instructions, our how-to video library, and the fact that you don't need any specific tools, that most people will start building almost immediately. And they'll be surprised at how little they actually need our help.
Okay. Well, how does it go from a temporary, so something lightweight as a maybe a podium or a reception desk? How does it go from that to something permanent like a retaining wall? What are you filling it with, and how are you making it structurally secure?
Yeah, so I mean, it may not look obvious, but the blocks are hollow. So when you put them together, you can infill it with anything, and that's the whole way down the structure. We recommend using material like type 1 aggregate, sand, but you can use the land around you. So if you're, for example, agriculture sector, there's rubble, there's soil, you could put that into the blocks as well. And it's all about just giving it that extra stability, that extra rigidity. But the blocks themselves can withstand quite a lot. So it's really just taking it from that temporary part to the semi-permanent or permanent. The blocks naturally have flex in them because of the way they've been built. That also means that you don't need any specific foundation to build on. You can do it in uneven ground, provided there's not massive slopes. But if you are looking for a more permanent solution, then we would recommend a foundation of sorts. But again, it doesn't have to be concrete. Okay.
So it is environmentally friendly across the whole range then, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Reusing what you're digging out probably to, put the retaining wall in, filling it with the like you say, the soil and the stuff that you're digging out. So that's good stuff. Okay. Let's get on to location. I mentioned earlier about sort of where you're based. So, we're all in, you cover the whole of the UK, don't you, from Glasgow, but you are based in Glasgow. And right now, as we're recording this, COP26 is in full swing. I think we're at the start of the second week. So given that QUICKBLOCK's 100% sustainable and it's a very environmentally sort of effective product, what are you doing in and around the COP26 event to align that agenda with your product range and the sort of whole sustainability, environmental responsibility, Andrew?
So yeah, I mean, literally the window behind me, about half a kilometre, is where all the world leaders are meeting or have been meeting over the piece. So we literally couldn't be closer to the action where our office is. If we try to get any closer, we're stopped by the security team that are swarming Glasgow at the moment. So yeah, we are as a Glaswegian, I'm proud to be hosting this event in our city. It's an honour, and it couldn't be more timely and more timely for our product. As you say, for us, it's about being part of the conversation. We intentionally manufacture our product from 100% recycled polypropylene, most of which has been taken from ocean plastic. So we've got some, we're solving a problem there. And for us, with the event, and we spoke a lot about events, with the event taking place here in Glasgow, we've tried to take that opportunity to get our product out in front of as many people as possible. We have been part of the conversation. So I was honoured to be invited to an event last week with His Royal Highness Prince Charles, and that was at Kilburn Grove Art Gallery. Myself and a number of representatives from the business community across the UK sat for a morning session and discussed how us as startups, as businesses, help the government achieve net zero, because obviously we all play a part in that. So being part of the conversation has been a big thing. Raising awareness of our product and the reasons why we approach it in the way we do has been a big thing for us. Taking part in the protests which have taken place, because clearly we all have our part to play here, and also from a business perspective, we've been involved. Chris mentioned the event in Dundee that's been run by Michelin, the tire manufacturer. Now they've set up a new site. They've closed down their production facility in Dundee, and it's now focusing on sustainability and sustainable new technologies. So we are showcasing at that event in Dundee, which is a part of COP26, but also laying on all the event infrastructure for them, which of course can then be taken back down and used for future events. And we're also involved in an expo, which is I would call a fringe event to COP26 at the Construction Scotland Innovation Centre. So tomorrow I'm meeting with people from all around the world to showcase our product and open the discussion with them about the innovative technologies that they've got, perhaps room for collaboration there, but also to showcase what we've got. So in summary, it's just great to be part of the whole conversation, and to have it on our front doorstep is, as I say, quite the honour and quite exciting, to be honest, Nick.
Well, I didn't know if it was a missed opportunity. I think from what you're saying there, you've got a lot more involvement and engagement with some of the decision makers. I wasn't expecting Joe Biden to drop by and have a little play with the grown-up Lego at any point particularly, but I'm just wondering if there's still an opportunity for you to engage more, maybe post COP26 with the outcomes of that, being sustainable, environmental, Glasgow based. Have you got a plan to really help to drive that awareness of QUICKBLOCK and the SME agenda then, Andrew? Yeah,
well, I think COP26 as an event is it's a meeting of obviously world leaders, and then all of the administration that goes with that. But the key part in this is, yes, we can make announcements, and we can we can pledge to end deforestation, which was a great announcement last week. We can make all of these pledges, but actually, arguably, the most important point is what comes next. It's how we then deliver on those. So, as a business, as a really ambitious business, we want to help government achieve their ambitious targets. We the Scottish government have really bold aspirations, as do the UK government, and we are really leading the world here. So I don't see why we can't be part of that solution in construction. For instance, the construction industry is a massive polluter, obviously, and has a massive impact on the environment. 8% of global CO2 emissions come from the production of cement. So cement itself, concrete and cement products. Now we are not going to replace concrete and cement in every structure, but I can tell you that there'll be there is a real opportunity there to minimise that emission through the use of QUICKBLOCK. So if we can be involved in that and really help, it's not about, yes, it's about pressuring government, but it's also about helping them achieve things, and hopefully we can do that.
I would say you're not likely to replace cement in full-scale construction activity, but certainly around the periphery, certainly around the edges of a construction site. Things we talked about, temporary shelters, storage units, all the things that generally are quite heavily involved in sustainability challenges and environmental pollution. You can certainly make a difference there. So it's great to see. Yeah.
Most certainly. I mean, the kind of temporary structures, semi-permanent structures, quite often are, it would amaze you what is built using materials that can't be reused. So everything that we build can be taken back down again, flat packed, and then reused for something entirely different. So you can go from a garden shed to a dinosaur. Okay, so that's the fun you can have with it. But also, a point that Chris mentioned was the need for foundations. So the fact that it's a lightweight structure that can be built without the requirement for foundations. How many garden sheds do people have with a concrete slab below it? So there's a real as you say, you're right, it's on the periphery. We're not going to be building skyscrapers out of QUICKBLOCK, and we're not going to be replacing that material, but inadvertently, by the introduction of this new innovative product, we will be replacing it or offering a more sustainable alternative, shall we say.
I mean, it's great to see. It's very exciting. I'm going to go back to the product, Chris, with yourself. If I worked in any of the sectors we've talked about, like construction, agriculture, civil engineering, land management, hospitality, whatever, landscaping particularly, what would you say to me about checking out QUICKBLOCK and what it can do? Where would you point me to? What can I see? What content have you got available that maybe I can think, oh, okay, let me have a good look at that? Because, at the moment, we're talking about it and it's very positive, but it's a very visual and tactile product, isn't it?
Yeah, no, and that's one of the biggest challenges, is actually to get that across to people that haven't seen it before, is, you know, how innovative it is and what you can achieve with it without them actually seeing it. So one of the big things when I came on board is, and it was already in the progress, but we finally got it finalized, was the website, and we've got a new look website now live, so you can go onto that. And we have very much sector specific information. So if you come from one of those sectors, yeah, just go to the drop down tabs on the website and you'll see that. You can find us quite easily on Google. You just go to QUICKBLOCK, or you can enter quickblock.uk in the address bar. And we'll probably have to buy quickblock.co.uk as well, just to prevent anybody else going anywhere else. Yeah. But yeah, on that, we're on all the social channels. So Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I don't think there's a social channel we're not on. Oh, TikTok. We're not on TikTok yet, but the marketing guys, they want us to be on TikTok because they just like putting together videos. So we'll be on that, no doubt, soon enough.
I'll be honest with you though, it does, because it's fun and quick, as the name suggests, it probably does lend itself well to a TikTok kind of platform. I'm not a big fan, if I'm honest, personally. You know, I'm not that bothered about seeing cats juggling and people, you know, taking 20 minutes to make an omelette and show you how they do it. But ultimately, TikTok is short, sharp, quick, and yours is, as the name suggests, quick, but it's also a bit of fun. You can do a bit with that, with a speeded up video and all the things that go with it. So I guess that might be the next phase of your social media platform.
Yeah, but it probably is, and I think it's definitely the way forward, to be active, where we can be. But the best thing I would say to understand QUICKBLOCK or get to know QUICKBLOCK is just give us a call or email me, and I'll come out and see you. I've, we've no qualms about that at all. I love meeting people. I love having conversations with people, and showing them the product and getting them excited as I am about it. So that's probably the biggest thing. I can bring out the blocks. You can build with a few of them. I can give you all the information you need. We're brochures, we're leaflets. But I think once you see it, once you see the product, once you see the video, you'll just be amazed. And you'll just want to buy some.
I was there in the office, and there's some in the office, and you just can't help but want to do something with it. There's all the flat pack stuff there, thinking, what can I do with that? So it genuinely does. It gives you the inner Lego child in you, doesn't it, really? Okay. So I'm just conscious of time. I'm going to ask last question for Andrew, really, I guess, is what's next for QUICKBLOCK, and what does 2022 hold for you and the business going forward?
So it's a really exciting time, Nick. We have, we're launching the product in a number of different markets at the moment. So for me, for the next year, it's really getting that, getting the product in front of as many people as possible. And we've got some really exciting clients that we're working with. So keep an eye on our social media channels to see how things develop there. We're not standing still. This is an innovative product, and we've got two very different but very exciting new products that we launch to market within the next year as well. So we're continuing to build on the core system as well. So there's new things coming up, and also we're a small team. We're growing the team. Literally, within the next 6 months, we'll be bringing on some new team members, really growing what we're doing and looking to speak to as many different markets as possible and get the product out there. We've got, as I said, we've got some exciting new clients, and I can't speak about them all as of yet, but there's a really there's one in particular project that we're doing with the UK Ministry of Defence, which is really exciting. So watch this space.
And that might be a game changer on a few levels, presumably, if you're talking about that level of client. So I hope COP26 gives you some opportunities as well to explore. I think it deserves some level of success from the alignment that you're doing, the work you're putting in, the geography, and genuinely the passion you've got for the whole agenda around the whole COP26 sustainability and environmental side of things. All that remains for me to say, guys, is that you've been brilliant guests today. It's been really insightful in terms of showcasing what a product like QUICKBLOCK can do. For those who are watching the video, the contact details for Andrew as CEO and Chris as head of sales are on the end of the video. and we'll put them in the show notes so that you can pick up and click and link and, you know, connect, etc. with people at the same time. So guys, it's been a brilliant insight into a relatively new business making some really big strides with a product that is fun, innovative, but has got a real future in terms of what its ambitions are for helping the planet to achieve, you know, the objectives that we're all now very much aware of and responsible for. So all it remains for me to say thanks very much for attending and being great guests on the podcast.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks very much, Nick. Thank you.